Sometimes hobbies overlap and make you do some crazy things. While I already had a love of narrow gauge railways, the one I am drawn to in terms of prototype and scenery is the Great Whipsnade Railway, the only preserved railway line that is within the grounds of a wildlife park. While many wildlife parks have railways around their grounds, Whipsnade is a 2-foot 6-inch narrow gauge line that operates preserved steam engines. Their biggest and strongest engine is a Kerr Stewart Matary class 062 tank engine, built for the Bow Waters Paper Railway. It is the only Matary class that has survived in original build condition. And it goes by the name Superior. As I've worked within zoo environments, building a wildlife park model railway layout is on my bucket list. And after visiting Whipsnade Zoo and the railway last year, a steam engine of theirs became an obvious choice. Thankfully, Fourdees produced Superior in Whipsnade condition, fully built, though as of this month they have decided to discontinue all models based on the Graham Farish Class 08 chassis, including Superior. I had emailed them last year and managed to reserve the last model under construction. Thank goodness I did. It did set me back a pretty sum though, taking the crown of the most expensive engine I have ever bought. As I took such a big dive, let's see whether it can live up to the asking price. The model finally reached me in one of Fourdees' tasteful and professional looking boxes, secured with elastic bands to keep the lid on. Inside we have a Kerr Stewart & Co. Matary class Superior, product code 41-212, in 2007 condition maroon livery. Inside is a helpful booklet detailing the locomotive's design and how to access the adapted mechanism, as well as some information on the minimum radius the chassis will navigate, as well as what paint brands and shades were used for the decoration. I especially like that last bit. You don't see that very often with manufactured models. There's also a separate booklet on the history and preserved examples of the Kerr Stewart and Bagnall, Matary and Barretto classes of 062 tank engines, though oddly Superior isn't mentioned in here. An anatomical diagram of an example is included though, which is handy for finding your way around the engine. Also included as a separate part is a painted up toolbox, a nice extra I wasn't expecting. And here is the engine itself, decked out in that maroon with a thin band of yellow lining separating the maroon from the black bands. Separately fitted name and builder's plates are applied, not quite in the neatest fashion, but they look much better than simple prints or decals. From above we can see there has been a casualty in transit. The front lamp has broken off, but thankfully has remained with the locomotive. The tooling though includes plenty of detailing, such as appropriately placed rivets and water caps. The boiler is maroon, but surrounded by separately fitted or separately painted pipework, sandboxes and safety valves. More of the piping is actually separately fitted than I anticipated. The coupling rods have a dulled effect to them rather than being glistening clean metal, giving a much more realistic impression. An additional rod extends to the crafted piston and valve motions, while the actual chassis frame itself features more fantastic inclusions in the moulding. From the outside, you'd never guess this chassis began life as a Graham Farish Class 08 diesel. Around the front of the locomotive you can see the engine has a bufferless buffer beam, but plenty of rivet detail. Brake pipes and couplings come pre-fitted, and that matte smoke box contrasts nicely to the soft sheen of the tank and boiler paint. That's something premium we've only seen recently from some contemporary model manufacturers. Door dart and footplate details have all been carefully applied. Round to the other side we get more of the same, with some additional piping. I love the capuchon on the top of the chimney, which is really noticeable from this angle, even if the moulding looks a tad on the thicker side in this cruel close-up. The cab windows and glazing all look pretty good too. Certainly better than I've seen in some 00 releases in recent times. At the rear is another buffer beam, well designed to accommodate the 009 coupling. There's also an open back cab with handrails and a fully decorated interior. How is it that a smaller manufacturer like Fourdees can pull off something companies like Bachmann don't even attempt on some of their models? I'm looking at you, Bachmann Talclin. You get painted pipework, levers and gauges with the fine notches. This is how a 009 gauge cab should look. Underneath we can see the base keeper plate can be removed by undoing the screws, and the rear pony truck has a degree of movement to it. Even down here I spotted some additional detail present on one side of the engine but different on the other, accurate to the real life engine. Fourdees have knocked it out of the park with their attention to detail in the design. On the scales, Superior comes in at 59 grams, which is almost as heavy as Bachmann's fully die-cast Taloclin. The larger size of this loco is likely why the weights are almost identical, as this engine is mostly plastic in its body construction. The wheel gauging comes in at 7.7 to 7.8mm back to back, which is about right. Overall, this is a fantastic handcrafted engine that's modelled to a very high standard. If it runs as well as it's been decorated, this will be my firm favourite in my growing narrow gauge fleet. Despite being run in the day before, when it came to filming, Superior had reverted back to being quite janky. In reverse it was smoother, but struggled going forwards. When the controller was above 50%, it generally became reliable at running, if quite sprightly. Anything less than 50% resulted in stalls. I wondered if the Class 08 chassis and motor were underpowered for the larger body and chassis, but once it had warmed up, its performance improved. And the more I ran it in both directions, it ran fine, even over baseboard joins. Now, a disclaimer, as testing this engine on my current layout is somewhat cruel. The booklet states that this needs to be run on minimum radius of 9 inches or greater, which I couldn't see on the website when I ordered. I took a gamble as to whether this engine could do the Pico first radius 009 curves, and it will, kind of. The rear pony truck derails on the bends, but otherwise it makes it round as an 060 in forward direction. It is also very tall. Thank goodness I didn't build my tunnel, because this wouldn't fit. Superior was regarded as too big for the Whipsnade Railway when it arrived, so it's quite comical that the miniature model has the same issues on my layout. It can't make use of the engine shed either, and I had to remove the scrap host wagon as Superior collided with it in reverse on the curves. If only I had this engine before designing my narrow gauge loop. The benefits of hindsight. Let's test it over the points. There was a bit of a slowdown there, maybe caused by the derailed bogie. And now it's stalled. Okay, that seems to have been an issue with the points there. so that section wasn't Superior's fault. Let's have another go at that. This time it appears it was the bogie catching, but otherwise it made it over. On points with a more gradual radius where it doesn't derail, I suspect the Loco will be fine and reliable. However, with my current setup, there's no concrete way to tell. So the performance took a while to warm up and bed in, but now Superior is running more reliably, I think it's ready for my usual gearing test. While this engine is used to running amongst wild animals, let's see what happens when we put one on the footplate. It's time to hand Superior over to my train racing driver. Some say that he once drove and flew a steam flying machine in an experiment for the Great Western Railway, and that he once debunked the existence of level crossings using 50 spirit levels. All we know is he's called the Grunt. There he is, in the open-backed cab, looking far more impressed with this set of controls than what he had in the back Metalliclin, which was nothing. And off they go at 50% speed, round those first curves with the bogie bouncing free behind. They get through the station without catching on the points this time, though with some minor slowdowns. Back round the next set of curves, through the boulder field they go, heading towards the long straight and across the line. So, we did get a full lap. Fourdees Matary class Superior Locomotive did the lap in 22.36 seconds, which is bang on 29 miles an hour when rounded up. That's slightly quicker than the Pico Small England, but slower than Taliclin, thankfully. Overall, it's definitely on the nippy side and too quick compared to the real-life engine's true-to-life operating speeds. But Superior is about on par with other 009 engines out there, and isn't the worst offender in this regard. Let's test the couplings with some prototypical rolling stock based at Whipsnade. An ex-RNAD flatbed and a box wagon. I'm intrigued to see whether Superior can actually pull a train, given its tendency to throw its rear pony truck on such tight curves. Those didn't couple up. Let's try again. Nope. Alright, hand of God time. That's holding much better now. Moment of truth. Can Superior pull a train? It's dropped it and derailed it. And made things worse. Let's give it another attempt. Dropped it again. The derailing bogie just cannot hold the loops as it leaves the rails. I'm going to try and get Superior shunting the train to see if the front coupling has more luck. We need the hand of God again. We've had another derailment. The front coupling just couldn't pivot effectively enough with the train, and has shunted the flatbed off the track. I'm going to call testing there, I think, as it can't seem to handle a train on these loops. As lovely as the model is, does that count as a fatal flaw? Let's see. On to my final verdict. Decoration. While not as polished as any of the big manufacturers, this was remarkably well done, even incorporating some finer lining I wasn't expecting. It's been applied by a person or team with fantastic experience and a deft hand in custom painted locomotives, offering a top-notch output. They even detailed the paints they used in the livery, should any touches need to be applied. All things considered, this was an easy win for decoration. Details and features. There was far more on here in terms of moulded detail and separately fitted detail than I was expecting, given this isn't coming from a mainstream model manufacturer and is adapted from a diesel chassis. You get a fantastically achieved coupling rod arrangement and an outstanding amount of cab detail that puts the back Metallical to shame. Even a separate toolbox was included. I wasn't expecting this to have working firebox LEDs or anything, yet I'm impressed with everything included and provided. I'll give it the point here. Quality. There were a few hiccups, but on the whole it's generally well built. Broken lamp aside, which likely happened when this was being packed into the box, Superior is really well designed. The body may simply clip on and off, but it's really easy to attach and detach and holds firm on the chassis. The secure central weight over the worm gear of the motor helps centralise and balance the larger body. My only suggestion would be to have a bit more weight or spring tension on the rear pony truck, as this can quite easily jump off the track at speed or on curves. All round though, this is in a better state with fewer issues than some new releases from bigger manufacturers. I'm overall happy with the quality and design. Performance. This is a bit of an unfair assessment today, as the instructions clearly state this can't do tight curves, but that's all I have. On a different layout, Superior would perform much better. Here though, there's limits that are evident. It won't run with the pony truck railed, can't really pull a train, and only really ran consistently when warmed up. The thrown pony truck makes the couplings unusable and can catch the engine on point work. In forwards motion, as an 060 this eventually came to run really well. It feels mean to mark this down given my tight curves, but alas, it can't pull a train. It's an engine too big for this layout and needs one specifically designed with its clearances and tolerances in mind. Thus, I'm slightly disappointed here, despite the flecks of good and potential on display. And finally, onto price. This is the single most expensive engine I have ever bought, with this being the final example planned for production. It's a niche prototype with hand-applied decoration, and in this case it was essentially a commission. Without a full factory behind it, I can understand why the design, production and assembly costs are higher and push the price up. At the end of the day, this was the only way to get this particular engine in model form, and with how it's decorated, detailed and designed, I'm happy in these departments. Performance was the only hindrance, but my layout setup could be equally as guilty when it comes to how the locomotive ran. Still, it's an eye-watering amount, but Fourdees have made me happy by providing me with a very specific engine that was on my wish list. Yes, it was expensive, but I'm glad I got this engine now and for this price, as an opportunity to get one was unlikely to come around again. Overall, that's a score of 4 out of 5, making this a model I can highly recommend, if you're willing to pay the price. It's a bit of a moot point now as it's out of general production, but Fourdees are open to one-off commissions of their retired models should you inquire. So, what do you think of Superior? Sure, the performance could have been better, but I can factor all its quirks into my future plans. And I have big plans for this engine down the line. Eventually. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Take care.